Welcome to RCAM. I'm your host, Ryan, and thank you for tuning in today. So today we are going to be discussing child sacrifice at the DNC. Yep, the Democratic National Convention decided that to commemorate Kamala Harris's nomination, that they would offer child sacrifice to those in attendance. So we'll talk about that and just how demonic it is. We'll also talk about, speaking of demonic, pastors who endorse the practice of abortion. And we'll get into Matt Walsh infiltrating the DNC. That's rich. And we will also discuss Harley Davidson being the latest company to retract their DEI initiatives. So all that today and more on RCAM. All right, so if you like this content, please like, subscribe, follow, do all of the things that helps me grow. If you have the Rumble app, go ahead and type up my name, RCAM, or type RCAM, that's not my name's Ryan, RCAM, in the search engine, and you will be able to find me. And then subscribe to my channel, follow me, click the notification bell so that you can stay up to date every time I go live. We go live Tuesday through Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. All right, so obviously, if you watch this show at all, you know that I am very pro-life. And when I say pro-life, I mean anti-abortion. I am against abortion. I will wear that label loud and proud. I am against the murder of unborn babies, as most sane human beings should be. But we don't live in sane times, and unfortunately the Democratic Party has basically made murdering babies part of their platform. But they won't explicitly say that. They'll use euphemisms like a woman's choice or healthcare. But these are just ways of describing how they how they want the right to murder their unborn children. So that is the Democratic Party. That's what they're about. Because anytime you're pro-choice, that means you are indirectly saying you are supportive of women who choose to choose to end the life of their babies, which is murder, by the way. So just so that we're clear, so that we get that out of the way. All right. So with that said, like sometimes you don't even believe this is real, but it is. So obviously after Roe versus Wade got abolished, it definitely made abortion less accessible to Democrats, and the result has been, babies not being murdered in certain states. But they want to capitalize on the Democratic National Convention, and Planned Parenthood took the initiative to drive their deathmobile to the Democratic National Convention parking lot. So this is from Planned Parenthood. They say all free vasectomies and medication abortions, no, this is not medication. This is, these are death pills, are filled for our mobile health clinic, Death Clinic, in Chicago. Check back soon and we will share the interest form link again if we have cancellations. So here they are taking their deathmobile to the DNC to help assist murder babies and provide vasectomies, which I'm actually supportive of the vasectomies because, you know, if these are the type of men that are reproducing, I say, hey, we're better off without them. We don't need them. So they're better off not reproducing. So go ahead, get that vasectomy. But the other part, the abortion part, that's where I take issue with. I take extreme issue with murdering unborn defenseless babies. I do. And it's insane that the Democratic National Convention allowed this. Now, I know some of you may be hoping that nobody took them up on this offer, but unfortunately you would be wrong. So this is a report by Savannah Hernandez. We'll share a little bit. So DNC day 2, I am currently outside the Planned Parenthood mobile health clinic. The patients are actively walking in and walking out. So far, I've watched 1 male and 3 female patients enter the truck. Patients pre-registered to receive abortion pills or vasectomies, with Planned Parenthood filling up every appointment slot because they do not want to miss a chance to murder babies. I tried to interview a patient as she left, but I was quickly stopped by Planned Parenthood staffer.
Like, why just not create the right seats? All they had to do is increase the zone where the journalists could work and set the seats back a little further, and then everyone would have been.
Jeez. These people are demons, Joe. Straight up demons. Lila Rose, I don't have the infographic, but she shared on her Instagram that up to 25 babies have been murdered so far, and it's just really horrific. You know, I know a lot of people have grown callous to it or don't take it as seriously as they ought, but this is human life being snuffed out and treated like you're going to get food at a food truck or something. It's just insane to me that we allow this. It's insane that they're so desperate to help women kill babies that they'll set up a mobile death clinic and drive it to this state so that people from out of state who can't get abortions in their state can kill babies in another state. And this is one of their sacraments. This is one of the things that they do. They sacrifice their children on the altar of their careers and take their lives. And it's a modern form of what people used to do when they offered babies to Baal. You know, this is Baal worship, and unfortunately, the only thing that's changed is the altar that they're doing it on. And it breaks my heart, and it infuriates me, and it's one of these things that I hope and pray comes to an end on a national level. I know that the Republican Party has kind of taken a step back, and they've been called radical for wanting a national abortion ban. I think we're radical for not wanting one. And I think what's radical is taking the lives of unborn babies. I think that's radical. And I think it's horrifically evil. And you have the Democratic Party endorsing it, setting up a van outside of their convention. What does that tell you about them? This is a party of death. They have Planned Parenthood killing babies as they're giving speeches telling people how they're going to help this nation. And it should tell you everything that you need to know about these people. They are soulless demons. And it has to stop. All right, more kind of on this same topic of abortion. So we have here a reverend or a pastor giving this little sermon on how she thinks Jesus would support murdering babies.
Jesus were giving his sermon today, he might also have said, "Blessed are those who end pregnancies, for they will be known for their loving kindness."
This woman is a demonic psychopath. Jesus would not be saying, "Blessed are the women that murder their babies." Do you think he would say that if Mary decided to end his wife in the womb, or life in the womb, do you think God would be pleased with that? No. No, he would not. Because Jesus says, what you do to the least of these, you do to me. There is no blessing when you are murdering the very child God used to bless you. Children, according to the Bible, are considered a blessing. And when you kill them, you are killing a blessing from the Almighty, and you are marking yourself for destruction. Because make no mistake, God will not turn his eyes from the shedding of innocent blood. The blood of these innocent babies cries out to him, and whether in this life or at the end of the age, God will have justice. And for the people that are calling themselves pastors, that are preaching this satanic message to their congregants, I think Jesus, what he would say to you is, it would be better that you weren't born, because of what's going to happen to you. It's going to be really bad for the people that think that God endorses this, and for the people that celebrate this, and for the people that have murdered babies without reservation. What an awful, evil, and wicked thing. We have Jay Lucas here saying, amen, I don't get too heated over many topics, but this one gets my blood boiling very, very quickly. Yeah, me too, man. It's something that just infuriates me. And you know, more so now that I'm a dad, you know, I look at my daughters and they've enriched my life in such a profound way that I can't imagine anybody snuffing out these beautiful, innocent little babies. It's beyond comprehension. But yet this is their platform. This is what they do. And, you know, then you have these wicked pastors that are feeding into it and fooling these uneducated, unschooled, unread, unlearned Christians. And I say Christians with scare quotes because you cannot claim Christ while simultaneously defending your right to murder babies. You cannot claim to Christ when you are murdering the least of these. You can't. You are shedding innocent blood. You know, and you know, Jesus has an interesting conversation with the Pharisees. He says, to them, basically, if anybody were to teach these little ones, referencing children, to break the least of these commandments, that would be better for a millstone to be tied around their neck and thrown into the sea. Imagine what he would do to the people that are teaching their congregants to murder their children, to murder the very things that God calls a blessing. He says, you know, that it'd be better for a millstone to be tied around your neck and you thrown into the sea if you were to teach someone to break the least of the commandments. And now these people are teaching other people to directly murder babies. It's insanity. It's pure evil. Speaking of woke progressive Christians, we got this guy, Zach W. Lambert. So he said, this is a spot-on encapsulation of my political theology. I need my neighbor's children to be okay. What is this? Get out of here. To be okay so my children will be okay. We are all God's children, so let's stand together, let's work together to organize together and pray together. All right, so he is quoting this speech by Raphael Warlock. I call him Raphael Warlock because he's demonic and evil and supports murdering babies. He's also somebody that calls himself a reverend. So let's play this speech and see what he has to say.
I need my neighbor's children to be okay so that my children will be okay. I need all my neighbor's children to be okay. Poor inner city children in Atlanta and poor children of Appalachia. I need the poor children of Israel and the poor children of Gaza. I need Israelis and Palestinians. I need those in the Congo, those in Haiti, those in Ukraine. I need American children on both sides of the track to be okay. Because we are all God's children. And so let's stand together. Let's work together. Let's organize together. Let's pray together. Let's stand together. Let's heal the land. God bless you. Keep the faith. And keep looking up.
Lovely words. And I wish I could believe him, honestly. I do. I wish I could believe what he was saying, except, you know, there are children that he explicitly forgot about, right? What about the children that are being murdered in your parking lot? What about them? What about the children that are being murdered by the death mobile by Planned Parenthood in the parking lot? Do you need them to be okay? Do they matter? Or what about the children that are being murdered by illegal immigrants invading our country, aliens? What about them? Do they matter to you? No. You're preaching unity, but on the other hand, you support things that are wicked that directly harm children. And by the way, I'm you know, not speaking of little children because they're completely innocent, but you know, there's this mindset that we are all children of God, and that's not true. Just throwing that out there. Not all of us are children of God. All right, some of us are children of Satan, and I just want to read for you real quick a passage that, you know, hopefully is a little bit eye-opening and hopefully gets you to reconsider if you're a child of God or a child of Satan. So this is from 1 John 3. All right. Where is it? All right. So, little children, let no one deceive you. He who practices righteousness is righteous just as he is righteous. This is John referring to Jesus. He who sins is of the devil, for the devil has sinned from the beginning. For this purpose the Son of God was manifested, that he might destroy the works of the devil. Whoever has been born of God does not sin, for his seed remains in him, and he cannot sin because he has been born of God. In this, the children of God and the children of the devil are manifest. Whoever does not practice righteousness is not of God, nor is he who does not love his brother. Straight from the Bible. If you practice sin, you are a child of the devil. And make no mistake, Raphael Warlock and Zach Lambert and that demonic pastor and these lot at the Democratic National Convention, they make sin their platform. And they are children of the devil. They serve Satan and his agenda. And they are at enmity against God. And they do not care about what is good, what is righteous, what is pure, what is holy. They only care about power. And I was thinking of something today too. So I was listening to Walsh's show, and we'll talk about him in a little bit, but he was talking about how basically the left is like a religion. The Democrats is like a religion. And I was thinking how because they don't believe in God, because they reject God, the only thing that they can look to in this day and age is the government for power, because they don't have any power outside of what man has established, because they have forsaken it. And that's why they are so desperate to hold on to power. That's why they will do anything possible to get votes and win elections, because that's all they have. And Christians, they understand where true power comes from. And they understand that God is the source of all power and all truth and all righteousness, and he is the moral authority, and that the government is merely a vehicle for God to exercise his authority throughout the nations. But the Democrats view the government as the end-all and be-all of morality. So they decide who gets rights and who doesn't. And they use that power in wicked ways, like murdering babies in the womb. And it's just something that when you realize that this is all they really have, you kind of understand their motives a little bit better, and understand too what is ultimately going to change things. And it's Christians realizing where our power lies, realizing in who goes and fights before us, and trusting in our Lord and Savior to be in all of it, to preach his word to every nation, and to go into every man's world and share the gospel, and that includes politics. Because the gospel doesn't stop at the door of politics. God wants to invade every facet of our government, and he wants true justice to be made manifest. And this doesn't happen if Christians are apathetic and sitting on their hands and doing nothing. We have to act. We have to pray. We have to seek the Lord, and we have to trust that he will fight for us. This does not mean that our faith is without action. Quite the contrary. Our faith should compel us to do stuff. Be it protesting, be it running for office, be it praying, be it meeting the needs of the people in your community around you. Our faith requires action from us. So I hope that you see what they're doing, and it moves you to act. Be it in the polls, be it trying to advocate for policy that helps protect these kiddos, but that it compels you to do something, because these people are not taking a day off. They will not stop. They made it very clear that they want abortion up until birth. It makes no difference to them. So we can't be apathetic. We got to recognize the enemy that we're fighting and face them head on. All right. This next. All right. So this is from IGN. We've managed to not only track down... I'm not even going to read the article. Forget it. I'm just going to read this headline. We've not only managed to track down an old Dreamcast console that once belonged to the Minnesota governor and vice presidential candidate Tim Walz, but we have also uncovered at least one game that the former teacher turned politician has historically enjoyed. Crazy Taxi. Oh my God. You mean Tim Walz played the Sega Dreamcast? Hot dog, I'm going to vote for him now. He's just like me. He played the Dreamcast. Do they really think that this is going to convince anybody? They give these fluffy... He played video games, so you should go over. Like, who cares? Who cares that he played the Dreamcast? God, they must really think people are that stupid. Like, oh yeah, if he played the Dreamcast, then I'm going to go vote. He's just like me. Stupid. It's just stupid. That's just something I just thought was silly. These people, man. All right, one more on politics, but kind of relating to Christianity. All right, so this is Nancy Mace, and this is her new sign. I love Jesus, but I cuss a little. I would posit that actually means that you don't love Jesus. Yeah. The Bible tells us to not let any unwholesome talk come out of our mouth, and that the tongue is like a fire, and that we should be able to tame our tongues. So if you're cursing, if you are having unwholesome talk come out of your mouth, that would be an indicator to me that you don't love Jesus at least as much as you claim you do. And I'm a little tougher on Nancy here, because this isn't the first time Nancy has done something kind of silly like this. So Nancy is, at least I know who she is, because probably about a year or so ago, she was bragging about having premarital sex at a prayer breakfast. How's it not? I'm sure Jesus loved that. I'm sure that was a great way to show your love for Jesus, having premarital sex and bragging about it at a prayer breakfast. And now you're boasting about how you cuss a little. Now, I'll be transparent here. Cursing was one of the things that I struggled with for a long time. It took me many, many years to get control of my tongue. But you want to know what I never did? I never boasted about it. I never took pictures saying, hey, I cuss a little, but I love Jesus. No, I didn't do that. I was ashamed when somebody heard me cursing. And I sought to change it. Actually, if you want to know the truth, all right, so I was at the time I was a pastor, and I was also working though at a garden center, it's a farm home garden store, and a customer did something that just, it bothered me, and I ended up getting angry, and I ended up cursing, and this customer happened to hear me, and I decided, and then we got these things called white tickets, and we go around back, we get the loading slip, and we'd load somebody up with horse feed. So I go back there to load somebody up with horse feed, and that same customer that was up front that heard me cursing was in the back, and he came up to me and said, hey, he's like, I know you. I said, oh yeah, you know me? How? He said, you're a pastor, aren't you? And it's like, I just felt a level of embarrassment and shame that I never felt before, because here I am, being somebody that's claiming to be a witness for Jesus, claiming Christ, and here I am being a bad witness. And that was actually the beginning of me learning to love Jesus and honor him with even my mouth. And by not cursing and by not being a bad witness. So that's what I ended up doing. I stopped cursing and changed my ways. I repented. And this sign that she's holding is indicative of somebody that's not repentant, that doesn't actually care or show remorse that she doesn't have control over her tongue. And it's one of those things too where, so here's another thing about cursing, all right? Some people just focus on it being like a bad word or something like that. I don't even think that should be your focus, all right? Your focus should be not having control over your tongue. That's what should bother you more than anything. Because if you don't have control over your tongue in that area, if you can't stop cursing, if you're dropping F-bombs and saying all sorts of foul, unwholesome language, it indicates that you're somebody that lacks discipline. So you want to be somebody that cultivates discipline to help you stop cursing. So don't focus on not saying bad words, focus on disciplining your tongue, and then you will not say bad words. So that's my 2 cents there, and it's something that you should take seriously, because our tongue holds the power of life and death. What are we speaking? What are we saying? Are we using our tongue to edify? Are we using our tongue to build up? Are we using our tongue to bring glory to God? Or are we using our tongue and bearing false witness? And by the way, bearing false witness is taking God's name in vain. It's not just, not saying like, just saying the name Jesus improperly. It's living a lifestyle that is not consistent with the faith that you are proclaiming. And Nancy Mace here is living such a lifestyle. And it doesn't just extend to her mouth. It extends to everything that she does. What was Nancy Mace? She was trying to walk back, or she lied about transgender care, something like that. So she's like one of those, she's Christian on Sunday. We'll just put it that way. So, yeah, bad on Nancy Mace, honestly. Very, very disturbing. So, so this next news is about Matt Walsh. So for those of you who may be unaware, Matt Walsh is coming out with a film called Am I a Racist? And basically he's taking on DEI, and he's infiltrated some of these DEI workshops where he has to apologize for his white guilt and stuff like that. And his trailer is actually being shown in movie theaters, which is fantastic. That's awesome. And somebody saw his trailer, and I just thought the reaction was hilarious. So this is from Julie Ray Goldstein. Seriously, AMC theaters? I'd come to the single showing you have today of the Elliot Page's new film close to you within a 20-mile radius, and you find it appropriate to play the only instance of the trailer for Matt Walsh's movie I've ever seen in a theater? Read the mother effing room. Well, I don't know how to explain this to you, but AMC is not actually, the CEO, whoever, is responsible for putting these trailers in the theaters. They're not actually in the room, so they don't know you're there. They don't know. Oh, that woman that wants to see Elliot Page's documentary. Let me make sure we don't put Matt Walsh's trailer in just for her. So this tells you the level of narcissism of the people that we're dealing with. But I also do think it's great that it's actually playing during the coming attractions before Elliot Page's new film. I think that's awesome because Ellen Page. Which, by the way, this actually, I want to comment on something because Walsh had mentioned that he's cool using these transgenders' new names. I'm not. And I'll explain why, all right? He basically makes the case that names are changeable, that it doesn't matter, that names, it doesn't really matter what somebody's name is. And I would agree. Like, if you're changing your name because, you have this awful name, then I get it, all right? If you got a bad name and your parents, named you something terrible, then of course, change it. That's fine. But if you're changing your name to hold up this false identity, then yeah, I'm not going to go along with that. Because the name holds up the entire identity. So no, I'm not going to call you by your new name that you're using to pretend you're the opposite sex. Sorry, not going to happen. I will either address you by the original name you had when you were and still are a male, or I won't talk to you. I don't have anything to say to you. So that was one thing I did disagree with Walsh on, but I do think this reaction is funny. I also think it's interesting when these people are confronted with their own insane ideology, because if you watch this trailer, you can't, even if you're somebody that's leftist, you see this playing out on the big screen, you're like, oh man, like, we look evil. Yeah. It's not nice seeing and bearing witness to the ugliness of your own insane ideology, is it? It's tough. Makes you squirm a little bit. And your only thoughts is to try to get them to take it down and stop it from happening. But unfortunately, it's here. It's in theaters. And I encourage you guys, if you haven't bought tickets yet, go buy tickets. Help them make this film get into more theaters, because I think it's going to be very instrumental. So more on Walsh. This guy's great. So evidently he infiltrated the Democratic National Convention.
They're gonna like her. I saw what she did in the Senate. We served together for 4 years. She cared about families. She could work with all kinds of people, and she was effective in getting things done. One of the things she pushed and succeeded in was $35 insulin for senior citizens. Now we're going to get it for everybody.
What's your response when Trump takes credit of that?
Trump takes credit for so many things he doesn't do and gets the blame for a lot of things he does do. He's lost his bearings, as we can see, day by day.
So that's very clearly Walsh at the Democratic National Convention. And honestly, his disguise isn't even that good. All right, so I guess evidently in the film, once he started wearing the hair, people stopped mistaking him, but he got caught real early on. But I mean, that's so obviously him. But people were bothered by this. They were bothered of his mere presence. So this is from Beth for Rockland. Fam, Matt Walsh is at the Dem convention posing as a delegate. Do not talk to him. Don't talk to him or you might be exposed to truth. You can't have any of that. Call him out. Tell security if you can. For what? Being there? Is he not even allowed to be there? These people, man, they're crazy. They are out of their minds. He's allowed there. It's fine. But again, they can't even be in the presence of somebody that challenges their worldview. In Matt Walsh's very presence, they view as a threat. And this is what people that built their identity on lies do. They respond viscerally when they might even have a chance in hearing the truth, because they hate the truth and they love darkness instead. All right, so we got one more story. So this is by Robbie Starbuck. All right, now just to recap. All right, I've covered a couple stories in the past. So Robbie Starbucks has brought down Tractor Supply and I think John Deere, which I think is great because they had these DEI initiatives in their companies, and he shined a light on it, exposed them, and it's crazy because we don't really see this happening, but now we're seeing it happening, and he's the guy leading the charge. They ended up dropping their DEI initiatives, which is crazy, and dropping their pride celebrations and backtracking on some of this stuff. So then he set his eyes on Harley Davidson, and it worked. It worked. He got Harley Davidson to abandon their DEI initiatives. All right, so this is from Robbie Starbuck. Another win for our movement. I couldn't do it without all of you. Harley Davidson just issued this statement where they promise no more DEI functions, no more supplier diversity spend goals. They'll no longer participate in HRC scoring. Sponsorship activities are changing and will focus exclusively on motorcycling, first responders, active military and veterans. No more woke trainings with socially motivated messaging in them. Harley Davidson corporate can be sad all they want, but our movement gets results. If you want to expose the company you work at for woke policies, DM me with evidence or ask for our email address for tips. If you support what we're doing to bring the sanity back to the corporate America, subscribe to my X page for $5 a month. It helps pay for our research and my team. This is only beginning. Normal people just want sanity back, and I'm your megaphone. I'll make a video reacting later in full today. So yeah, this is their statement. So they dropped their DEI initiatives. And if you guys want more proof, well, this is it. If we respond negatively to their DEI initiatives in the workplace, if we have just a few brave souls willing to expose them, they will backtrack. Because once this stuff is in the light, they see how crazy it looks. And they will go back on it. And they will stop doing it. And this is how we win. And, before, I would say 2 years ago, before the Bud Light thing, I didn't think we could really make that much of a difference. But after seeing Bud Light, after seeing what Robbie Starbuck, basically alone and with the help of people leaking him some information, has done is, I cannot emphasize enough how incredible this is. He's helping remove wokeness from corporations. He's getting them to cave to pressure from the right. That used to happen the other way around. And now we are wielding power and we're using it to get these companies to actually be decent human beings. To not judge white people on their skin color. To not expose their employees to LGBTQ plus propaganda. It's a huge win. And I cannot emphasize enough how great this is. So, I think if you have tips and you work in an organization that does this, reach out to him and help get them exposed. And it sounds like he follows through on what he says he's going to do. So I think this is great. I think this is awesome. I think this is a huge win. And I'm very grateful for Robbie Starbuck and the work that he's doing. And yeah, I hope to see more of it, honestly. And we'll see what happens. All right. I think that's it for me today. I think I covered a nice array of topics. So I do appreciate you guys tuning in, and if you like this content, please like, share, subscribe, click the notification bell so that you stay up to date on what I'm doing. I go live every Tuesday through Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and I appreciate you. And if you have any thoughts, suggestions, ideas, comments, I want to hear from you. Comment, let me know what you think. Do you think that we should do more of this, what Robbie's doing? I'd love to hear your thoughts on it. All right, that's gonna do it for me. I hope you guys have a blessed night. Deuces.